First, though, 75 years ago, a battle was raging in the skies above us. Already triumphant after crushing Poland and France, Hitler's next target was Britain. The German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, pounded targets up and down the coast. It was the first step of a planned invasion, but the heroes of the Royal Air Force in their Spitfires and Hurricanes held back the Nazi onslaught. As Churchill said, "Never have so many owed so much to so few." Well, today the surviving pilots of the few are at Buckingham Palace for a flypast to begin anniversary commemorations. And our correspondent Danny Savage is at RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire. Over to you, Danny.
Yeah, Joanna, good morning from RAF Coningsby. This is the hangar of the Battle of Britain Memorial flight behind me. It's like an Aladdin's cave of World War II aircraft. Right at the far end, you can probably see the outline of the last flying Lancaster bomber here in the UK. That's having some repairs done at the moment here in the hangar. And then behind me as well is a Dakota transporter aircraft. Also normally housed in here are all those Spitfires and Hurricanes, and 6 of them altogether took off from RAF Coningsby a little earlier on today. They came over us in formation, 4 Spitfires, 2 Hurricanes, and they were heading off down towards the southeast to take part in that flypast over Buckingham Palace, which will take place in about an hour's time. Loads of people turned out, a fantastic sound as all of those aircraft flew overhead. The Battle of Britain's so important to the Royal Air Force because it's like their Trafalgar and Waterloo. It was an aerial battle that took place 75 summers ago. It did change the course of the war. It started today, the 10th of July, with a big dogfight over the English Channel in which 14 enemy fighters were shot down. It ended officially on the 15th of September, again with a huge raid by German aircraft, again which the RAF triumphed in. And it was really down to those fighter pilots of the Spitfires and Hurricanes that put Hitler off invading Britain 70 years ago. If we hadn't have won that battle for air superiority, our lives could have been so much different as to the way things turned out. So as far as the pilots are concerned here from RAF Coningsby, they are going to pay tribute to their heroes today. They fly these Spitfires and Hurricanes in peacetime, and they couldn't imagine flying them in combat conditions back in World War II. A special day for everybody involved, Joanna.
Danny, thanks very much. Well, I'm very pleased to say that we're joined now by Eileen Younghusband, who's a veteran of RAF Fighter Command. She's in Cardiff. Thank you very much for joining us. This must really stir memories for you. You were just a young girl when the Battle of Britain happened. What do you think about it today?
Well, I will never forget it. I wasn't actually in the Air Force during the Battle of Britain, but I had a very close connection because I had a cousin who was a pilot who was killed. He wasn't in the fighting force, but he was killed as a byproduct of it, as a pilot. And it was because of that, and the fact my father had been in the Royal Flying Corps in the First World War, I realised I'd got to do something about helping my country. So I enrolled in the Women's Auxiliary Air Force, and I was fortunate enough to meet someone the day before I joined up who told me that they would ask me whether I wanted to be a cook or a driver. And she said, "You tell them no." So I said, "Why?" She said, "Tell them you want to be a clerk special duties." And this is exactly what happened. I was asked whether I wanted to be a cook or a driver, and I said no, a clerk special duties, and I had to tell them I was good at maths. I had no idea what this was about, but once I joined and became a clerk special duties, I realised that the girls who were doing that job during the Battle of Britain itself were part and parcel of why our fighters managed to defeat the German aircraft. Because the filter room, where we all eventually worked, was known by Air Chief Marshal Dowding, who was the head of Fighter Command, as the linchpin of the defence of Britain. And it was because radar had to be used in a certain way to give advance warning. We didn't have enough fighters to always be in the air to intercept. We had to get our fighters up at the very last minute to use their maximum fuel content to fight as often as they could. and then get back and refuel. And the filter room was the way that the radar operation gave advance warning to the operations room where the fighter control was situated, which got the fighters up. And because the filter room did the mathematics of it all and instantly got these positions of the German aircraft as they advanced, that it aided our fighters to be there at the right time, despite the fact we had so few fighter aircraft.
An absolutely vital job, therefore, that you were performing. You said that you were asked before you signed up to do that job whether you were any good at maths, and you said yes. Were you? Did you find it a difficult job to do?
Well, no, I was good at maths, and because we were all young, we were able to do things with instant thought. They'd originally had scientists doing the job we were doing, and they decided that the scientists were too slow. They prevaricate, you know, was it this or was it that? And so instead they put men from the stock market who made instant decisions, but there weren't enough of them. And then they found that the girls who were on the plotting table in the filter room, which was linked to the radar stations, they were actually moving the positions more swiftly than anybody. And if I can explain how the filter room worked, it would get information direct from radar stations, and radar overlapped the whole of Great Britain, and German aircraft coming in might be seen, first of all, from the radar station bang in front and only see 5+ aircraft. The radar station on the left might see 200+, and the one on the right, perhaps 500. And all that information came into the filter room, and the word filter did exactly that, sorted it all out, turned it into a track. The controller identified it, knowing the route of friendly aircraft as friend or foe. And once we got notification of an enemy or hostile aircraft, the ops room, with the girls with the long sticks pushing the things around, they then got the aircraft in the air. So it was a complete link from radar station through to the aircraft being scrambled. So you can see how vital the mathematics in the filter room was at that time.
Absolutely. We appreciate you joining us and telling us what you did for the war effort. Eileen Younghusband, thank you very much.